Oh, yes. We are here. We are all the way live. And we are so meant to shine. It's part of our DNA. It's who and what we are. Welcome to the Justice Files, where we are lifting Women's History Month with a total women's takeover. All women, all day, all the way live, y'all. Dominique DePrima kicked it off this morning live at Doolin's, feeding our intellect, our minds, and our souls. And then the baton was passed on to Santita Jackson. And I so lovingly and gratefully take it up. We are here for you coming from Leimert Park, the heart and the soul of the Crenshaw District. Y'all, we coming to you from the 90043 ZIP. I'm Dion Raymond, Justice Correspondent and host of these Justice Files, where you will find us each Sunday at 10 a.m. with an encore. Y'all, we do a replay, a second serving at 4 p.m. And today, as always, we are not just working our shift. We're celebrating the mountain peaks, the milestones, and the magic of all the moments that collectively make up this moment of Black women's history. Women continuing the work that bends the long arc of the moral universe towards justice with the fire and the ice that only can be the signature and style of Black women. And so enter today's guest. I got fire for y'all. We got the fire of Estella, the poet, and we got the two cold ice that is Pam Ward. Both Los Angeles-based poets repping the power of the spoken and the written word, standing on the shoulders of, and we have presenced here with us before we came into this studio, into this this conversation. We have presenced those upon whose shoulders we stand, and as we walk that power forward, the spirits of, we say their names, June Jordan. We say their names, Lucille Clifton. We say their names, Nikki Giovanni, Bell Hooks, and others like them. Pam Ward and Estella the poet are claiming space with their pen and words in the name of justice and celebration and all that we are. We are more than female versions of men, but we are also the power that takes silence and turns it into the potential and possibility through the word. Welcome, Pam Ward. Welcome, Estella the poet. How are y'all being today?
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Dion, for having us. Thank you, KBLA. Women Power.
Thank you for being here.
I'm so happy to see my sister Dion again. I saw her at UCLA. I saw her in the lawyer field, and here she is holding the mic down for Los Angeles.
Oh, yes. I call this my happy space.
Yes.
Like you all, and if you know that my life started really as a writer, as a child.
Yeah.
And so I think you all might agree, or maybe not. That's why we're here for this conversation. Those who write, it's not just something that you want to do. It's some type of impulse that is coming through you that is asking to be expressed. So let's talk a little bit about why you do this and how you do the way you do.
Well, it's funny because I almost went your route and became an attorney. I, took the LSAT, but my writing actually comes from my identity politics. I see something that happens and then I feel that I have to make a poetic response. I mean, it just burns in me until I start getting words down, and then that's how a poem is born.
Mm-hmm.
My writing poetry came when Donald Trump became president of the United States the first time around.
Wow.
And my first book was published because I had to figure out, what do I do with all of this energy? Truth Shot Sonata's Brew was part of that, because I think poets are empaths. I think that we feel.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't put something to paper, much like the two of you, I started writing when I was in junior high school, mad at my mama, my daddy.
Your therapy,
journaling.
right?
Okay, it was.
Your therapy.
And it's clearly still is. Because when that happened, I ended up writing The Rage is Real in 4 parts. I ended up writing Jim Crow on the Run. I wrote Hitching Up. I mean, what do you do with that? What do you do with insanity.
Well, wasn't it Langston Hughes who said, "What happens to a dream deferred?" You know.
Langston Hughes, there's a show that just opened at CAM. I'm a docent at CAM on Langston Hughes. What happens to a dream deferred? I used to make my kids memorize that.
It's funny because Susan Anderson, that's putting that show together, she invited me to read. We haven't done anything yet, but you know, people don't realize Langston was down here in California for a while. I think my great aunts hosted him at their homes in Pasadena, and he was here, you know, writing scripts, doing stories, you know, making an imprint in California.
And when I was coming up, at one point in high school, I was exposed to the writers of the Harlem Renaissance. Before that, I was writing in just this, you know, kind of regular rhythm and rhyme, and it gave me permission to find that rhythm within me, and to give expression to those things as he talked about. You know, that dream deferred. Does it sag like a heavy load, or does it explode? And gratefully, we have writers like yourselves who are exploding in greatness and in excellence through the word. And more of that as we come forward. You're tuned into the Justice Files on this all-day, all-women's takeover on nothing less than KBLA Talk 1580.
The women have the mic, and they're not giving it back. It's a total takeover, all day, all night. KBLA Talk 1580.
We're at Doolin's on Crenshaw. It's a special place where the neighborhood comes together. Got the fried chicken, the catfish, the candied yams, the mac and cheese. It's all delicious. I'm Isaac Bryan. I represent the Crenshaw District in the California State Legislature, and I'm supporting Tom Steyer for governor of California. California is under attack, and we need a fighter who's going to come in on day one and stand up for California values and push back. That person is Tom Steyer. Tom and I have been fighting together for the better part of a decade. Tom is the only candidate supported by smart justice, because Tom has stood on the front lines of racial justice, economic justice, and true solidarity. Tom is the real deal. He's the only candidate in the race with a comprehensive plan to make the billionaires and the corporations pay their fair share so we can fund things like universal health care and education. He means what he says, and he does what we need. This is a moment when we've got to fight fire with fire, and I believe that fire is Tom Steyer.
Ad paid for by Steyer for Governor 2026.
Girls who run the world, girls who run this mother.
Women's History Month doesn't end. It crescendos. This Friday on KBLA Talk 1580. It's a total takeover. All day, all night. Women's voices only. Santita Jackson and Amanda Seals join our all-star lineup of women talkers as special guest host for the day. Oh my God! And our lineup of guests includes entrepreneurs, poets, elected officials, authors, activists, creatives, and music artists, including the Grammy Award-winning Faith Evans.
I never knew there was love like this before.
And Guapale. There's only one Faith Evans, and 25 years after she asked us to get closer, Guapale also comes live in studio to celebrate the debut album that became a classic. This Friday, only on KBLA Talk 1580. Tune in, turn it up. This one's ours.
We run this mother.
Broadcasting live from Leimert Park, USA. Welcome back to your home for unapologetically progressive radio. KBLA Talk
I'm from outer
1580.
space. I got Milky Way for blood, evolution in my veins. I'm gone, I've been far away. I'm illuminated, I'll make a move, start a waves. I've been dreaming about flying for a long time. I had a vision from the praise they wanna co-sign. Artificially intelligent AI. I'm your future, past and present, I'm a fine.
Hey. Sis really says that we are the future, the present, and the past all in one. And certainly the words that we write and that we speak and that we hold for each other encapsulates the moments of the past, the present, and the future. I'm talking to LA-based poets Pam Ward and Stella the poet. They are fire and ice. I'm often amazed how, for Black folks and black women in particular, our art and as it expresses, we do it in spite of so many struggles and obstacles. If you ever go on a walk and you see some kind of flower or plant that is sprouting up in between the cracks of the concrete or the asphalt in spite of, and it's just as beautiful. We were talking off air with regards to poetry that Stella, you said that we live a poetic life.
Yes, I thought about the black women who have come before me, who were poets, like Nikki Giovanni, that I was inspired in, Gwendolyn Brooks and June Jordan, just people that may have gone through struggle, but they found a way to talk about it in real terms, in real life, in that real moment. But I also think about people like Harriet Tubman and Ida B. Wells, who wrote. She was a journalist like me, trained, who lived lives that were poetic. Winnie Mandela.
That's so powerful because we don't always, and well, let me just speak for myself. I hadn't really thought of it that way. Harriet and the Underground Railroad, and whatever. When you hear the dogs don't stop. Don't stop. I hadn't really thought of it that way. That it really describes a poetic life.
Well, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you said that you started writing poetry during the Trump administration, and COVID was rampant then, and I remember hearing that when we had to shelter in place, more women were beaten than any other time in history, and there was no place for them to go, and so I wrote a poem called Shelter in Place, which we did this reading called Soft Power, and the funds went to fund Genesis House that's right near here for abused women. So here we go. I don't know any woman who randomly grabs a skillet, fishes cabinets, a gang of pots and pans, contemplates handles, considers their weight, grip, or side, unless her kitchen's a magnet for fists. There's not one girl alive who wakes up saying, let me scramble some brains, let me go rattle some chines, unless she's the bull, better yet, unless she's the batter, and her cheeks already know Flapjack's fate. I don't know one woman in her right mind who weaponizes hot grits or plates, who clamors for the need to clobber, or renders cast iron's weight, unless she's an egg, unless she's facing the break, or with her own bones saying, not today.
And in this space of living these poetic lives at once, though, at the same time, Pam, you also said that, we ain't exactly, writing these Hallmark cards either.
No. And I think that, it's just like we're seeing this Cesar Chavez and Dolores Huerta debate. Most people are upset that she remained silent. And I think that silence is what helps to perpetuate this situation.
Oh, totally. I mean, yeah. I'm sorry, there's so many things on that one. There is a silence that black women in particular have always carried. And we carried it from, it's epigenetic. And the poets that came out to speak their truth in their pain found the purpose of the pain. They understand that we share something here. And when we can share, we get stronger. We don't get weaker. So, I so appreciated Dolores Huerta coming out at 96 years old to talk about being sexually abused by, someone that we consider an icon. But, they're human beings too. Just like every poet that I've ever met, or any famous person, any human being, they're human.
Exactly. Well, I mean, in fact, I have to read this. I chopped it up. I'm only going to read some excerpts, but it's for Dolores, and it's called Shut Up and Dribble. Do you know why women hold their tongues? Do you know why they don't speak? Why they augment or amputate their teeth? Do you know why women hold you up so that you don't fall? So if you really want to rip her roots, you better bring more than a pail. You better bring rosary beads. You better bring tall, thigh-high boots. You better be ready to rumble, fling some mud, or go casket deep, and not be worried about the blood underneath. Have you ever considered the sheer number of brutes women know? All those touchy-feely uncles, all those cousins not on the up and up, all those bosses and co-workers are slugs they've endured. Listen, fool, you can't handle the truth. So before you prune a woman for holding her tongue, ask yourself if you're ready to taste the sauerkraut of rot. Ask yourself if you're ready to turn your family to dust. See if your beliefs are TV movies, a phony Hallmark card, a fiction layered like manure over seeds. Let's see if you can hold the truth by its rototiller blades. Let's see if your spine withstands the machete of honesty's taste. Let's see if you land on top or the bottom of the heap. If a tractor comes on and brings your family to smoke, if you're one matchstick from a farm ravaged by flames.
Pam, this poem, as all of your poems, and in poems by definition, are they give expression to experiences, to feelings, but we talk about the power of the word, and what that power, there can also be consequences. And so when we talk about Dolores Huerta at 96 years old, you know, now she's in a space where she can talk about these things. But she is also a part of a generation, my grandmother included, and her sisters. Y'all know, they took them words, they took those stories, they took them to the grave. I find myself at this point in my life trying to find my great-grandmother and the stories of my grandmother and her mother, because as close as we were, and she passed right before I was 16, never talked about her mother, never talked to her about her father, who was a white man, a German Jew. It was illegal for them to be wed. Those things were painful. And so they weren't able to talk about those things. And so we really not only stand on their shoulders, but in a place of privilege, that we can be on these microphones and in these spaces and bring power through the word to these experiences.
Oh, definitely. I think about a poem that made me think about a poem that I have in Love, Magic, and Maroon Moons. That
your new book,
my new book, my second book.
Don't sit on that information. Tell us the name of both of them.
It's called the second book is called Love, Magic, and Maroon Moons by Estella the poet, and the first book is called True Shots and Ida's Brew.
We got that here in studio.
And a friend of mine, Phoebe Beasley, is an artist, and she did the covers. But for her, I salute her. I did a poem called How Dare I? How dare I be the love of my life, grateful for the blessings it offers. How dare I love deeply and grow in wisdom, trusting source and divine order. How dare I see myself as capable and worthy without an audience for validation. How dare I know I can trust the unknown and take magical journeys. How dare I put myself first, walking in faith, grace, and courage. How dare I love, live in joy, creativity, guided by ascended ancestors and guardian angels. How dare I not? How dare I not be my own hero and embrace the divine as my mirror? How dare I not hold you sacred, trusting the creator who made us? You also radiate with perfection's permission. I'm living in the now and enjoying every second. I am love, share love, bathe in love, wash my face in love, and spread it all over. Each moment is a blessing, and I am grateful. Thank God she dared.
Yeah.
And thank
And has
God
you
that
as a
Gwendolyn
witness.
dared.
You're
Yes.
right.
And that Nikki dared. And Nikki, I mean, that is the
And
definition
Lucille
of...
Clifton, 6 kids, 12 fingers,
Mm.
never had a room to herself. Wrote short poems just because she had no time to do much of, to do, taking care. I mean,
Lucille Clifton helped me through college. There was
Really?
it was my mantra: as possible as yeast, as imminent as bread. A collection of safe habits, a collection of cares.
Wow.
Less certain than I seem, more certain than I was. A changed changer. Where I have been most of my lives is where I am going. Constantly leaned into that. We need those things to constantly reaffirm us and to lean into.
Right. I mean, we were lucky here. I grew up through the poetry of Wanda Coleman.
Oh,
Who's
Yes,
from
yes,
the
yes.
South,
Word,
and
yes.
Michelle Clinton, and I worked at a place called the Woman's Building downtown, and that's how I met poetry. Really, is Wanda came and did a reading down there, and then she told me about a place called Beyond Baroque. So I took classes there, and then I learned about the world stage, Kamal Daoud and Billy Higgins joint, and the rest is history. A lot of great poets there. V. Khalid, Jaha, Zainabu. I mean, on and on.
I love the way you put that. That's where I met poetry.
That's where I met poetry.
It's a relationship.
That's when we
isn't
started
it?
dating.
It's a love affair. It's a love affair, and that lover will come knocking. Early in the morning or late at night.
Yeah.
I must be seen. I must be felt. I must be heard.
it's a one-liner. Sometimes it's just a word. I can watch CBS Sunday Morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'll hear something, get up, write down that line, and it becomes a poem.
Yeah.
It's just in the listening.
And the fearlessness. I mean, you have to be Harriet Tubman strong. You have to be ready to wade through swamps, face gunshot and dogs. And those women were so fearless. The poems they read were so strong. And I'd be like, damn. But it made me realize, okay, let me do the same thing.
Because I don't know about you guys, but there was nobody in my house that was just openly reading poetry or writing poetry, even
No one
talking
really.
about it. So it's interesting how we meet it, but it finds us.
It finds us.
It's the ear. I mean, in my house, listening was only with a loud voice. It's like when there was power and control, the voice got loud. So what I love about poetry is that it's done in the silence.
Yes, it is.
It's written in the silence.
Yes, it is.
And I think that's where God lives. So there's a poem I wanted to share, a sober salute.
Come on.
A heavenly toast and sober salute to Ida's brew with shots of Sojourner's truth. Calling in ascended masters, teachers, guides, and guardians. Calling in brothers and sisters of light and love. Grateful for the North Star and whispers from angels in the dark. Grateful for the final smell of freedom, the wisdom in looking forward, not back. Grateful for necks that didn't crack, backs that didn't break, police who didn't profile, perpetrators who had to pay, and for the innocent who kept running and got away. Grateful for the vigilantes that tired from chasing, and for the guilty found guilty more often. Grateful for police body cameras bearing witness so communities won't feel so betrayed. Toasting the guardian angels, the soul mentors, the light keepers, making sure the crude, the rude, the insane, the ignorant, the mean, the hateful don't get their way. Remembered in this salute are the sea spirits, souls of the lost, the stolen, the neglected, the indigenous, and those who made a way out of no way. Divine ones, precious ones, resting in peace, trusting destiny, grateful for protection in stormy seas, thankful for ancestral loving, for the sunrise, the light of the world each day. We thrive as collective consciousness for healing. Our DNA is organic and divinely sequenced. My life is infused with gratitude. This is how I pray.
Wow, we got school, we
That's
got
right.
church, we got. This is how we pray.
Yeah.
With it's the gumbo. It's the scraps that become a delicacy.
Yes.
It's Alvin Ailey. It's
Oh, God,
Duke
yes.
Ellington. It's the what we have.
Yes.
It's the and I would agree that can only be the grace of God. And
Mm.
it's the survival of the middle
It's
path.
Luther. It's Aretha. It's
well,
It's funny because I grew up in all of that. My grandparents played music. George Comfort taught music. He was in Porgy and Bess. My uncle played for Nat King Cole. So there's a musicality that I'm always hearing inside a poem, even the most drastic and horrific ones. When I wrote The Gaming of Emmett Till, I thought of Ella Fitzgerald. And so I took that poem and created my own song.
And we're going to have you pause right there and just, y'all need to hang on because there's more as we come forward of the beauty of the spoken word and the black women it comes to. I'm talking to Pam Ward and Stella the Poet on KBLA Talk 1580.
She said what she said. Women all day, all night. You're listening to The Takeover.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. The TSA is warning that staffing shortages from the partial government shutdown could force small airports to close.
Some are sleeping in their cars, selling their blood and plasma, and taking on second jobs to make ends meet.
That's Deputy Administrator Howwayne McNeil, who told Congress that 460 officers have quit since DHS ran out of funding. A House panel has found Black Democratic Congresswoman Sheila Sherfullis McCormick guilty of 25 ethics charges, including allegations she stole federal relief funds and funneled money into her campaign. The full committee will now consider penalties. And WNBA star Angel Reese is the new digital cover of Vogue Australia's April issue. The Chicago Sky forward makes history wearing her own Reebok AR1 sneakers on the cover. The feature spotlights her career and her unapologetically Angel shoe line. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Is this the Takeover? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers picked up where they left off last year, celebrating a monumental win. The two-time World Series champions won their opening game for the 2026 season. The Dodgers beat Arizona 8-2 Thursday night at Dodger Stadium. 3 RBIs for catcher Will Smith, including a 2-run homer. Yoshinobu Yamamoto allowed only 2 runs in 6 innings to get the win. The Angels also won their opening day matchup 3-0 at Houston. The UCLA women's basketball team is back in action today in the NCAA tournament. They take on Big Ten Conference rival Minnesota in the Sweet 16. Today's game is a semifinal in the Sacramento Regional. The Bruins are 33-1 and have won 26 straight. Tip-off time today at 4:30. Live coverage on ESPN. The Lakers are at home tonight against Brooklyn. First home game for the Lakers in 2 weeks. The Clippers are at Indiana tonight. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
LifeSource Water is celebrating their 42nd anniversary sale. Save up to $1,500 off the purchase of your new system. Call their local factory at 1-800-WATER-99 or visit lifesourcewater.com. Ends March 31st. Warranty limitations apply.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Dr. Nicordelai Corte. Less than 24 hours before a planned California governor's debate, USC and KABC Television Channel 7 pulled the plug after a week of growing outrage that not a single candidate of color had been invited to participate. USC says it was just math, polling numbers, fundraising totals, nothing personal. But here's the problem with that argument. Every one of the 6 candidates who made the cut was white, and every one of the candidates left out was not. At some point, the outcome is the message, regardless of the formula that produced it. The 4 excluded candidates, former U.S. Health Secretary Javier Becerra, former L.A. Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa, former State Controller Betty Yee, and State Superintendent Tony Thurmond, are not fringe figures. These are people who've won major statewide elections and served millions of Californians. Here's the deeper lesson. California is one of the most diverse states in the nation. Latino voters, Black voters, and Asian American voters don't just live here. We decide elections here. When the people organizing a debate about California's future build a stage that looks nothing like California, they're not just making a scheduling error, they're sending a signal about whose voice matters. Even some of the invited candidates called on USC to expand the field, ostensibly because they understood what was at stake. That said, it is worth noting that none of the invited candidates had the courage to stand in solidarity with people of color and bow out of participating in the debate. But we'll leave that alone. for now. Canceling the debate was not a victory, it was damage control. The real lesson is that diversity cannot be an afterthought in the criteria. It has to be baked into the thinking from the very beginning. Voters of color are not a special interest. We are the electorate. With the KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Dr. Nicordelai Corte. As always, we welcome your feedback.
Texting happy birthday is lazy, and sorry for your loss deserves more than a card from aisle 7. Say it right with Nappy Expressions greeting cards filled with faith, humor, and heart. Visit nappyexpressions.com. That's nappyexpressions.com.
Nappy Expressions is proud to sponsor the Women's History Month Total Takeover, Friday, March 27th, amplifying the voices of women all day, all night, only on KBLA Talk 1580.
We knew you'd stick around. This is LA's home for Progressive Talk Radio. Welcome back to KBLA Talk 1580.
Glad to be free. You know what I'm saying?
You are tuned into the Justice Files on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm talking to LA-based poets Pam Ward, Estella the poet. Y'all are also a bit historians too, spiritual gurus and everything wrapped up in the word and all of that power that undergirds it. Stella, you were talking about the silence that's underneath it, and also there's Pam, a rhythm and a movement to it as well.
That's right, and I come from that generational sort of song quality, and so this poem, "The Gaming of Emmett Till," and hi Mom, you celebrated 90. Hi Mari, hi Hannah, hi Guy. Okay, a tisket, a tasket, a black boy in a casket. He wrote a letter to his mother, but Mamie never got it. They got him, they shot him, the river to the bottom. A girlie cried, she lied and lied, a crime played out so often. These lynchings, these fishings, the wrong side of a fence in, a bludgeon face, a child erase. But Mamie made us watch it, this taking, this clocking, a black boy getting gotten, a coffin sighs, a life floats by, and silence is accomplice. These billies be hilly, the games they play so chilly. They alibi, they riverize, they Tallahatchie bodies. So nephew, be careful and double check that venue. They play to win, they sink your swim, so bring somebody with you.
Our children, the Black experience, live so close in us and with us. It really strikes, I think, one of the deepest chords. Dominique came here from Doolin's, and she was talking about, how women, we will come out, for each other. And I said, yeah, we will do that, and we really go in hard for our children.
Definitely.
As well. I think that's one of the deepest parts. But as I was thinking about this show and talking to you both in particular, the way that we represent through the word and as artists, because the word has such potential to impact those who hear it with meaning and with feeling. What is our responsibility, if you think we have any, in how we show up through our art to other women? And y'all know specifically, I'm thinking about Tiana Taylor in One Battle After Another, which obviously, well, at least for me, was not a movie that was made in celebration of Black women.
Oh, that's what I call the hot yoga class for the white male gaze, that movie. Yeah, I mean, so there's two ways to look at that movie. You can look at it as Tiana got a role, like Gone with the Wind, rather play a maid than be a maid. She got paid. Maybe she needed a kick in the door to get in the Hollywood. But there's also always a choice. And when I looked at the movie again, I noticed that they chopped her head off in the sex scenes, and you don't see her face. So I thought that was really interesting, that the focus was just on the black female body.
And her sexuality.
Yeah. And like Holly getting it for, what, an 8-minute sex scene with Billy Bob.
And Monsters Ball. It gets rewarded. It gets rewarded. I mean, she has been all over the place, and it's not like she's a newcomer to the entertainment industry. I mean, she can dance, she can sing, but she has definitely gotten rewarded with awards, with all kinds of recognition, and Hallie has too. She's considered an A-lister. When I think about movies such as Gone with the Wind and things like that, Birth of a Nation, we've come such a long way, and the things that you guys represent, how far we've come, and how much further we have to go. Stella, do you feel that when you are writing, and you may not, I'm thinking you're not thinking about it as you write, but that you are also representing us?
Oh, yes. Well, I first represent human beings, and black women as the first female on the planet I think we carry a special task at reminding people about our humanity. I think poets tell the truth. At least the poets that I listen to tell the truth. And it might be ugly, it may be pretty, it may be a little bit of both. But the authenticity of the word is what draws people in. And people can feel that.
And it takes a willingness to listen to that silent part and allow, Pam, that rhythmic part to come through. It's a process.
It is. I wrote I wrote a poem called The Magic of Black. Black crystal snowcaps melting on fertile red clay earth. Sun-kissed shackled souls delivered. Samba, spirituals, blues, jazz given birth. Ancient seeds planted in thundering oceans and bloody seas. Ancestral guidance in darkness is the magic of black to me. Mystic powers deep in no royalty fanfare on the shores, deja vus, North Star published. Souls visioning for more. The magic of black is in our hellos, goodbyes, handshakes, and high fives. It's in Richard Pryor's jokes, the Texas hop and electric slide. It's in the watercolors of Phoebe Beasley and the liberation of Aunt Jemima. It's in the film genius of Ava DuVernay and the lyrical brilliance of Kendrick Lamar. It's in the silky tones of Nat King Cole. It's when the godfather of soul pleads, say it loud.
I'm black,
Thank you.
and I'm proud.
Where is it?
I thought there was something. I didn't know we was going into the call and response, but
I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it's in respect.
Yeah,
R-E-S-P-E-C-T.
speaking of respect, I also think, like you mentioned, historians. We are historians, and part of our job is to illuminate and show the younger ones underneath who was here. Okay, who was here? So Tina Turner was here, right over there at Magnus Flat on Crenshaw.
Yes.
And I wrote this poem called Ode to Tina Turner's Soul. If I could pick one shoe, any shoe in the world I could be, I'd pick the black, shiny pump holding Tina Turner's soul. A sturdy one that might start off slow to a song, a mild tap, 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 a slide across the stage, a shoe holding stage, a shoe holding golden sculpted legs, moving as fast as those hot black bones go. Kicking down doors, stomping under thick rolling hips, dancing as if life depended on it, dancing like them feet had no sense, dancing like love or any mother had nothing to do with it, stirring up kneecaps, rolling a river of sparkling dress, turning the world into a hot, sloppy mess, running across freeways, rolling across rivers, leaping with just $1 to our name, smiling at red lights, daring us to stop. If I could pick one pair, only one, I'd pick the one holding Tina's legs, strong, ready to bow, jump, or kick, dancing our heart out, no matter what.
Love that. I love your writings. I've always loved your writings.
Tina Turner, a shoe as a metaphor for Tina Turner, right?
Right.
Yes.
We could spend a lot of time just on unpacking that alone. What shoes mean for us,
and
I know. Worn down shoes or shoes,
That's
for
right.
traveling
or whooping.
Or for style.
I didn't do that to my kids.
Yeah, of course not. Of course not. Yeah, the power.
Tina Turner, high heels. That's all I could see. Straightening some high heels.
Yeah.
Like fearlessly.
Fearless.
Back
Fearless.
straight.
I don't think
and moving.
she was ever in flats.
And ran across a freeway with $1 in her purse. Bludgeoned.
Wow.
They're fearless. I love that.
Yeah.
We come from fearless.
Even when we don't think we're being fearless, even when we can't feel it or even acknowledge it in the moment, oftentimes it's at a point of remove that we're able to look back and, that expression, I look back and wonder how I got over. And when we're looking back, we understand that, it was that fearlessness, that power, that grace, that love. And we're going to move that forward as we come forward. You're tuned into the Justice Files on the All Women, All Day Takeover on KBLA Talk 1580.
Turn it up. The women are running things. It's a total takeover. All day, all night. Right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
All the women who independent, throw your hands up at me.
This March, we're turning up the volume on the women who changed everything. KBLA Talk 1580 is proud to celebrate Women's History Month, honoring the trailblazers, truth tellers, and game changers who shaped our world, our culture, and our community. From the freedom fighters to the firsts, from the boardroom to the front lines, from the unsung to the unforgettable. All month long, we're celebrating the stories, the voices, and the conversations that remind us that women, Black women, have always led the way. Don't miss a moment. This is our moment. This is our story. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580, Los Angeles' home for the conversations that matter.
I'm your girl, you're my girl, we're your girls. Won't you know that we love you?
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The BLM Center for Black Power is a hub for Black activism in the city of Los Angeles, a standalone nonprofit affiliated with Black Lives Matter LA. The venue is home to live events, meetings, and organizing drives for Black-led community-based organizations. It is also the base of operations for Black Lives Matter LA. Built on what used to be a nuisance property owned by an arms dealer, the BLM Center for Black Power is in the heart of Leimert Park and has opened its doors to everything from youth organizers to toy drives to film screenings and community town hall meetings. To make a donation or make a request, please visit blmla.org. That's blmla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader. KBLA Talk 1580. Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your blood. Keep following the leader.
Oh my God.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
She said what she said. Women all day, all night. You're listening to The Takeover.
Morning light, silken dreams take flight as the darkness gives way to the dawn. You survived, now your moment has arrived. Now your dream.
You tuned into the Justice Files. I'm talking to two black butterflies who take flight in word, spoken and written. Miles, I'm gonna need you to play that one on our way out. That's Denise Williams talking about tell your sons and daughters what the struggle brings. What are your words telling the future? I'm looking at you, Stella.
I would say my words tell the future that we have a future.
Mm-hmm.
That hope is not dead. That those of us who have seen things, and it makes me think about Anne, because we did a sound bath at Charles's studio, and after the sound bath, she could see someone giving birth in the hulls of the slave ship.
And Anne, you're referring to?
Anne Haley.
Anne Palmer, Haley Brown.
And it was a thought that I never had, but there's children that survive. We survive so much, but we don't only just survive, we thrive. We move past the pain. So I would tell them that the pain is temporary and that it's there for a reason. It gives a purpose, and we are to find out what the purpose of it is.
That is absolutely right. One of the poets that I truly love, Ojinki, Alvin Saxon, he passed, and I read this poem at his memorial, and surviving delightfully is key. And so this is called How James Brown Navigates Life Disasters. I feel good even while failing or falling apart, or my heart a cracked windshields in shards. I feel good even while losing some wisdom-toothed friends. Amy Yamatsu, Michelle Serros, Wanda Coleman left the building, Marilyn Murphy once again. I feel good even if Grandmommy baked her last pie, or Grandpa's curtain call did everyone in, or new folks live in Aunt Joyce's home. I feel good even when I know that Uncle Joe's gone, Joe who taught Mingus how to finger a bass, playing it like a woman you want to keep, playing with Dexter, the Woodman brothers, tossing their instruments in the air, playing with Lionel and Ella, hitting it big with Nat King Cole until it all blew in his face when Sinatra caught him playing with Ava Gardner. I feel good even if I fret too much for my kids, or my sink drips, or bills pile over my head, or my brother, worried sick, frantically holds his breath while teaching his kids how to drive. Because travesty will come, whether you want it or not. Come like earthquakes, atmospheric rivers, come like cars hopping curves, come like fires or redwood trees falling over your house. But calamity got my sis a new kitchen. And even my cousin Luna is twerking again. Even after illness, even when everyone told her to stop, called her an idiot, called her a heathen, told her pole dancing was a sin. But Luna bought a thong and some 7-inch pumps, installed a pole in her den when she hit 46. Now she glitters and twirls, grinding her to her heart's content, singing rap tunes, watching the world upside down.
And Pam, I'm going to have you just put a pin right there. Because it's not lost on me, and in words such as these, we're not just telling what has happened. There's also a lot of anecdote, a lot of medicine, a lot that's there that's instructional for those who are listening, who are inclined. A way of more than just survival,
exactly.
but thriving, and that we can do it in so many artistic and ways that in the moment we may not have realized was even available.
Yeah, we've always thrived during calamity. Always.
Absolutely.
So I remember writing a poem to my 17-year-old self, and one of the first lines was, "You will learn how to love your schizophrenic mother."
17 years old.
No, I wrote it from here.
I
wrote it
to your 17
to my 17-year-old self.
17
that's your point. I mean, your point is what we see now is not all that there is.
But even the need to have to write to that person, that because it always lives in us, right?
Doesn't it? Yes, it does.
It still lives in us, and to have the opportunity to reach back to that person that's still living inside us.
Because we're always healing, aren't we?
Aren't we?
If we're black in America,
aren't we?
Yeah.
Aren't we? The 17-year-old self, the 3-year-old self, the 20-year-old self, and if we don't remind ourselves that we're still healing, the younger folks and our children certainly will.
They will.
My 92-year-old godmother says, "You have to remember, my view is out of a 1933 window. Mine is out of a 1959. You know what I mean? It's like, and wherever our perspective is from that point of view, just know that there's other perspectives. You know, there's other viewpoints. Ours is not. It's just ours. It's not necessarily right.
Yeah,
or wrong.
And the poetry represents different windows, different points of views. And you said that poetry talks to poetry.
It does.
It does. It does. I mean, I've had poetic conversations, and Pam was there at the studio, because our poems need to talk to each other.
I know. That's why I like that round robin style, where you read a poem and there's a line you might have that speaks to me, so I'll read
you're
one,
inspired. We
and then
inspire
everything
each
starts
other.
to just, braid together.
Yes, exactly.
Weaving a conversation. And then we're still having that conversation with those who've come before us, the Gwendolyn Brooks, the Nikki Giovannis. They're still speaking to us and through us, and they're part of the conversation in the present, not just reading their things in the past. It brings us to the fore. And it's so nice to have that tool of poetry that allows you to write about anything, anytime, anywhere. I can remember being in law school, and I was in the library, and I was studying late, and I just noticed that the folks who would come in and clean up behind these law students, who would just, without thought, leave a soda can without any thought about who's coming behind them, that became a poem. I was there when Huey Newton was killed, and I went to the place where they made a spontaneous memorial with the flowers, and that became a poem. And then our lives become the poem.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
It's poetic where we are, how we got to where we are. And if we don't see it as I love Pam's rhythm. I love it's a song, it's a tune, it's a lyric, it's a harmony, it's a beat, it's a rhyme. That's what life is.
And it's funny, I remember seeing The Last Poets, and it was just incredible, to hear that rhythm, the drumming, the beats, and they were so political. And even the Watts Prophets,
Gil Scott-Heron.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up listening to that. I mean, it was like the soundtrack of my life. And Brazil '66. I mean, there's all this music in my family all the time.
These tools that are always available to us, when I think about it, the pen, the poetry is always there, it's always available, and we need something that inspires us. Otherwise, we would become bitter and hopeless.
Well, you know what's scary, though? Because kids now always have something to engage them. It's our silence, our imagination, our boredom, so to speak, that gave birth to our creativity. And we're losing that in generations coming up, because they're always engaged in something outside of themselves.
It's funny. I've always embraced technology, and I did my design business when Apple was just coming out. And I remember writing on a phone now, I'm writing on a phone now all the time and using Facebook as my notepad, so check me out
It's
on Facebook.
interesting, too, because we all had typewriters. Yeah. We didn't want to change a word on that piece of paper because you had to go get the trace paper and white out and erase it.
I still have typewritten poems. I need to scan that stuff, but it always, for some reason, there was this,
Yes.
This.
It's highly portable.
I mean, I can type it, but there's this.
She's holding up a pen,
Yes,
audiences.
it's the pen. Thank you. It's this pen. It's this. We've got about a minute left now. I don't want us to run out of time before we share with folks, how do they find Pam Ward?
PamWardWriter.com. I'm actually performing April 10th at the Greenleaf Theater for the LA Get Down. They're doing a Wordsmith Award, so come through.
And you're being honored, isn't that correct, Pam Ward?
Yes.
And how do they find Stella the Poet?
They can find me on Instagram under @StellaThePoet1.
Thank you both for coming.
Thank you
for all
us.
that you do and that you
Thank
continue
you.
to do to keep us lifted. Thank you so much. And
thank
as
you,
we come,
Dion, for holding this space.
You are so welcome. And as we come forward, we'll leave with Lucille Clifton, who says, "The leaves believe, such letting go is love, such love is faith, such faith is grace, such grace is God. I agree with the leaves."
I agree with the leaves. Yes.
What the struggle brings. Black butterflies set the skies on fire. Rise up even higher so the wind can catch your wings.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. The TSA is warning that staffing shortages from the partial government shutdown could force small airports to close.
Some are sleeping in their cars, selling their blood and plasma, and taking on second jobs to make ends meet.
That's Deputy Administrator Wayne McNeil, who told Congress that 460 officers have quit since DHS ran out of funding. A House panel has found Black Democratic Congresswoman Sheila Sherfullis McCormick guilty of 25 ethics charges, including allegations she stole federal relief funds and funneled money into her campaign. The full committee will now consider penalties. And WNBA star Angel Reese is the new digital cover of Vogue Australia's April issue. The Chicago Sky forward makes history wearing her own Reebok AR1 sneakers on the cover. The feature spotlights her career and her unapologetically Angel shoe line.